Hello.
Welcome to my lesson. Today I will try to just a little bit adjust the way I coach usually. I know. Have you seen a lesson of mine?
No.
Oh, okay. then it won't change anything for you. Just I want to change a little bit the perception of uh, how I do this overall. So just tell me a few words about yourself. Uh, Champion pool and the role you want uh, to talk about today.
Mm, I don't know.
Okay, so you have as most played champion Jana Leona, so you probably support a lot, but you also play
Yes.
a lot of Nasus, so you're experienced in top lane. And Kale, do you play it rather top lane or mid lane?
Mid.
Okay, I see. So, uh, first of all, I want you to try and remember that one game that just get you a huge feeling of confidence in yourself, where you just stomped someone or you just had a really good game that you are really proud of, and uh, just it felt so good that you felt like, wow, that's the point why I am playing League of Legends actually. Do you have any game like that?
Yes.
So tell me just in a few words about it.
What?
Tell me about this game. What champion were you playing? Just well, an overall overview of how it went.
Nasus and I had a lot of stacks.
Hmm. So
And
you just
I carried.
you just farmed like a boss, and just the team comp were unable to stop you, or what was the problem? How did you manage to get that rolling in terms of team fighting? Because usually it's just the team fights that can uh, kind of shut down Nasus, because just if they have a lot of CC and you just can't get to their backline, it will be hard for you to stomp the game. So how did it go?
I just zoned their carries and went for the ADC.
Hmm. So, and when you were picking Nasus, were you first picking it, or you have seen their comp, you have seen your comp or team comp already? Uh, how did it go? Oh, do you remember that?
No.
Okay. Well, I want you just any anytime you play champion, just have a feeling of that you want to enjoy the game, you want to uh, play it to the maximum, and by doing this, you have to kind of analyze that brought you that huge success that you've managed to achieve in that kind of games that all of us had at some point. So, for example, I do enjoy playing Fiora a lot, and I know some games with her, and the problem is that I can't actually first pick her because she's kind of struggling in a lot of matchups top lane, and it is hard to adjust. She's just uh, can fulfill any role that you want to when you first pick, and you just actually can't predict what your teammates will pick, and you just can end up uh, you can end up having completely useless teamfight comp. That's just a huge thing for winning in solo queue. So I usually try to find the champion that I want to play, but that is also helps my team a lot. Uh, why is that important? Because uh, if you're going a heavy carry champion, I know, for example, like Riven, and you get a lot of kills, and you end up having a huge power spike concentrated on your champion, and others are kind of underfarmed and having not that many kills. So if the enemy team understands that and pays more attention to you, it will be hard for you to win this game, because just uh, the amount of pressure your team applies are completely irrelevant, because uh, all the damage your team deals is just actually you. So, but that just differs from player to player. All I can say about myself that I want to play. I just enjoy playing the champions. That just kind of makes everyone in my team relevant, and just as well, I want to be able to first pick regardless of uh, how the pick goes. I see kind of problems with Nessus being first pick, but just you have a really convincing win rate on him, so I guess that's perfectly fine. Kale is counted as a good, like, as a really good champion. Warwick is a jungler, I guess. Yeah, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So uh, at the moment, you're kind of distributed between all of the lanes. Uh, Here, I can see just a small problem. That feeling is awesome, and it just helps to have a better attitude in the team overall. But the problem here is that if you play a lot of lanes, uh, just during one day you play top, mid, bottom, jungle, then you are not aware of all the matchups that are out there. So it is hard to play on a, well, as for you it is platinum, and you are almost, I guess, platinum 1, platinum 2 at least. So it is hard for you to play against a player that is maining that role. All you can do is stall, and just there is there comes the games that you probably could have won if you were uh, a little bit more experienced in this lane, uh, but you are not, because you play a lot of roles at all. Do you call out a role during a champion select? How is it goes?
I usually feel.
Okay, probably you should consider calling out, and just before that, you have to just understand to yourself what do you enjoy playing. As an overview, I would say that top lane can carry at the moment, especially in the high tier solo queue, because AD carries are decent. And, well, as for Nasus, Lucian is a strong pick right now, and most most likely will kill you without any problems, especially if he gets enough pill. So just top lane is struggling to be a game decisive pick at the moment. You just have to be tanky. It can go 0-6 or 6-0 and just fulfill pretty much the same role. But uh, as for mid lane and jungle, I guess they carry really hard, because jungle is can't help any lane. Even if they get outpicked, if they pick really just counterpick themselves even, uh, it is even better for you as a jungler, because it is obvious that they will be having a hard time laning, so they will be pushed, and you can help them. It will be easier for you to gank, and by saving them and just progressing to the mid game, probably they will come back, and as a team you will be able to win, because you just get the kills. And if your lanes are winning, it will be harder for you to react, just because you have to counter gank, and it is somewhat harder, because you rely on getting vision over the opponent team. So Warwick, hmm, I don't know. I don't feel that he is that scary as for me, and usually I don't feel any kind of pressure from Warwick, and that is the problem that I usually uh, see even during big champion pick, because if I don't feel that I can be ganked early on in the game, I can play Caitlyn really aggressively and just out CS bot lane really hard just by pushing them constantly under the tower. And if you come, what can you possibly do? Pretty much nothing. As well as top lane. So before level 6, it is hard for you to gank a lane that pretty much doesn't have any CC. Well, and you can't influence that decision. So the guy picks, for example, Fiora, and is struggling to lane top lane, but you're playing Warwick, and until you get level 6, she will die 4 times, and you just won't be able to help you because of lack of CC. So probably you can even just play Kale now, jungle. She's good. She deals a lot of damage. The problem here is that you can still end up relying on your top lane going tanky, as well as because you can. I lost my thought. Okay, because if they don't get tanky top lane and support, tanky support, and you don't win the lanes hugely, and you just steamroll over them during team fights, late game will be hard because there won't be anyone for you to tank the towers if you try to dive and try to end the game somehow. So it's just kind of shaky, but it is decent, I'd say. Shyvana, I guess, well, it is probably the best balanced pick if you go top lane. And here I want you, just after the lesson, think about what lane you want to play and what lane you want to just try to call out and try to get it as often as possible, just to be really, really confident in that lane. And have a champion pool there of probably 2 or 3 champions. More is just not needed. You want to be really godlike on this kind of champions. And all other lanes, you want to have one champion that you try to play all the time. And it just, the champion for that role should be like a Swiss knife that can pretty much do everything and can fit into any team comp. So it's just like Shyvana top, not just a decent top laner that can split push, that can tank a lot, that can kill AD carry one-on-one and stuff like that. Just for mid lane it is Kale or Orianna. They are both good and just as well fits any team comp really good. Fiddlesticks. I'd say Rammus is good, but you have a lot of deaths on it. But he really ganks a lot, and he is really, really strong. Well, as I feel him, because if you play carefully early game and just control the buffs, the spawn times and stuff like that pretty accurately, you will be able to gank really hard and just come on top of that pretty much. For example, Nightblue is playing some from time to time Rammus, and he's just snowballing pretty hard and just probably 1 or 5 games where he loses. And about spamming the champions and spamming the lane, it is not only me, just most of the players that manage to get to a Diamond 1, high Diamond 1, most of them, by the time they arrive there, they are just really, really strong on one champion, and then they try to transition to another champions from that. So they are getting really experienced playing one champion. They know just each matchup that can be there, and not only 1v1 in terms of 1v1, but also the junglers. How the junglers affect this matchup. So you know all your lane opponents, you know all the junglers, how they can help you or how can they gank you. So, and from that, you just probably face some champion and you feel like, wow, this champion is really strong. It just can give me that kind of utility that I'm looking for, and just try to max him. Obviously, you will end up having at the just when you just only started it, having probably a less convincing win rate, just because you're probably not get that used to last hitting with that champion, just uh, not that confident with landing skill shots and stuff. But still, if you are already confident with one champion, if you have already achieved that uh, high ranked queue, it will be easier for you to adjust to adapt with the new champion. The same thing applied here. For example, uh, previous season we were really struggling to get diamond, and we almost throughout the whole season we were just trying to get there. Although I had no problem playing with Platinum 1 and Diamond 5, but it was just psychologically frustrating to play the games, and I don't know. But as soon as you got there, this season it took me just literally no efforts to get there. Although I failed my uh, placement matches, so I had to play just a decent amount of games just to get from Platinum 5 to Diamond. I'm still progressing. So you just get you just try your hardest to climb on that cliff, and once you get there at least one time, it will be easier for you to get there. So you just uh, want to kind of boost your skill level on one champion, so you just climb that cliff, and then you just become more and more confident with getting to this cliff with probably other champions, probably with other roles, and just you feel that you will be improving pretty hard. But the main thing that uh, is what you feel doing in team fights. So like if you take that game as Nessus, you were able to just as one player to zone their carries, kill their AD carry, and just win the game out of that. Uh, if it is not happening with Nessus, you just should start to think, okay, if Nessus is not working, well, probably I can do this. She is really strong. She's being played in LCS a lot. Just if I try and learn her laning phase, then I will be able to do this, even if just my laning phase is not that convincing, and enemy, support, for example, is providing their backline with a better peel. Just probably it will still work out because I'm a rally. I can one shot him and I can get closer. So that kind of thought. So as a jungler, I just like to play heavy tanky champions that I want to, regardless of how the early game goes for me, I want to be sure that I will be pressuring their backline with my CC. They won't be able to ignore me. They won't be able to disrespect me, even though I don't know, probably 5 deaths already and just haven't done anything during early game. But still, if they misposition themselves during team fights, I will punish them for that. So that's kind of thoughts that are going through my mind when I pick champions. So I play just Wukong. I don't know. I'm playing Sejuani. Uh, well, I'd say that's pretty much it. And Xinjiao, I've played him a lot. So just I want to make them respect me when I'm playing as a jungler, and as well I want to be able to engage. So if I, for example, play Kale, that just doesn't fit my playstyle because she is unable to engage, and I want to be able to engage when I want. to do it, not just relying on my support or top lane or probably enemy team. So that's just the thoughts that are going through my mind when I just remembering the games where I just played really good, even if I lost. But that feeling that I got, that it just that's what I want to get. And starting from that, I try to find a champion that fits the way I think, the fits the goals that I want to achieve. And out of that, I try to practice this champion to that point at which I am decent. So if you're still not sure what to play, I guess we just go to the jungle because it's just the main idea that I can explain. I guess your laning phase is decent with Nasus and Oriana, who just probably the amount of deaths shows that just struggling to transition to the mid and late game as a carries because you die. Okay, let's jump to the custom game. We will talk also about positioning as we. Oh, pick any jungler. It just it doesn't even matter what you pick. We're just gonna run around. So okay, what I usually tell my students is that there is basically a one route for jungler to go. In most of the cases, it works, and it works really good, and it has proven itself for me, for my Dokyo partner. Just well, I've climbed to diamond playing Sejuani jungle. He climbed to diamond playing J4 jungle, and just a bunch of guys from my university. They've also climbed to diamond with pretty much the same idea, and just when we played together, they were doing well pretty close things that I will show you. So the first idea is that invades are not for solo queue. Because top lane and bot lane won't communicate with you for sure. Mid lane probably won't react. And if you make a mistake, you will just give out buffs and time, experience, and a lot of kind of stuff. So you want to be confident with your moves and rather help your lanes than trying to shut down the enemy jungler. See what I'm talking about? Although just the experience gained from monster camps have been reduced this patch, I believe, it is still just useless. It is really risky. This high risk, but it usually doesn't outpay itself in the end. So you want to start always with the bottom buff, regardless of what champion do you play. So if probably your champion is struggling without getting blue buff, well, just I don't like that kind of champions from the start, because sometimes you can get invaded, and if you just got your blue buff stolen and you can't play out of it, well, just I don't know, that's just a bad jungler. Other than that, I don't think that there are any kind of bad junglers. It's just the junglers that are underrated and just underplayed for unknown reasons. So you start bot buff. Why? Because bot, I mean AD carry and support, will be able to give you a more effective pull and at
Always.
the same time they won't risk, if they do it properly, they won't risk losing experience, getting that CS, and just starting to push their lane to the victory. So you start bot lane, they give you a proper pull, so then you go either wolves or red. That depends on what champion, jungle champion you are facing. If it is Lee Sin or Udyr and you are, I don't know, uh, champion that are believed to be vulnerable to invades. Just you can predict them kind of trying to invade you on red and kill. So you want to skip that wolves just to make sure you get your double buff. And you just skip it, run there, and place ward here. So if the enemy jungler invades, and you have skipped the wolves, most likely you will be able to see him in advance, or rather he won't be able to come here at time at all. So you just get that red buff, and if the enemy comes, you just ping, and most of the time your mid lane will come earlier than the enemy. So after that you get races, but just because you skip the wolves and kinda your jungle route is not optimal, you will come top lane later than the enemy jungler that had already started, that as well started red buff, for example, bottom side of the jungle. So in advance, if you just feel that you can get invaded, and you will go a safe route, you warn your top lane player that you will come a little bit later. If it we're talking about the enemy jungler coming there, so he probably want to be to try and play a little bit safe. So why do you want to go top lane? Okay, there are a bunch of reasons to go there. First of all, just in 90% of the cases, it is melee champions laning top lane. So if they're going to last hit, they will trade auto attacks, they will trade damage, just because if you are getting damaged and don't deal damage yourself, well, you will end up getting forced out of the lane. So it is always be some kind of a skirmish there from the very start, from the very first levels. And if you are there to come and help in that kind of a close fight, you will be able to help your top lane a lot. And top lane, well, the second reason here comes. Top lane snowballs huge. It is easy to kill because they fight, because it is a long lane and it is only one player with most likely even not full HP. So, and it snowballs like really hard. For example, if Renekton doesn't get ganked, or it is even gets a kill or two, when the jungler decides to help this lane against Renekton, and Renekton level 7, and you guys just, your top lane and jungle is level 5, well, Renekton will get a double kill. The same thing kind of just can be applied to Riven and a bunch of champions out there. So if you don't help top lane early, it will be harder for you to get to help him late in the game. So it will attract a lot of attention from you, probably even from mid laner. And if you go there around I don't know, well, later than the 10 minutes into the game, you will leave up Dragon unsecured. And a smart jungler will always want to get this Dragon as soon as you show yourself top after 10 minutes into the game. So you want to get this top lane rolling before Dragon can become a real objective to take. So after you get a gank top lane, you can go have races, I guess. And it is the moment when you just probably can try to gank mid lane. Ganking mid lane is always, I'd say, a matter of experience, of how you know the matchups there. All I can say that sometimes it can be just a waste of time. Just sometimes a good Lulu's players just are impossible to gank, for example, or Z players. But when we're talking about Z player or Fizz player, we can predict that he will try to kill your mid laner as soon as possible. And if you are there and punish them for going really aggressive, so just you, for example, waiting in the bush, and you know this guy is Fizz and here is Orianna. Oh, so Orianna really counters Fizz, but probably your Orianna wasn't applying just enough pressure on him, and he just decides if I stay in the lane, I won't be able to sustain anymore, so I will just try to go all in. Well, Orianna is a actually is a bad example, but just, well, you get the idea. It can be Swain instead of Orianna, so just Fizz will try to all in, and if that very moment Fizz goes in, you run out, and even if you don't manage to kill him, you still will be able to get a decent amount of damage on him and prevent him from being aggressive from that point. So then Smite is back up again, and you can go kill Vraces again or something like that. Then you go back, get the jungle item, and boots, for example. Well, it is already 7 minutes into the game, so you do know when the buffs spawn. It's 7:12, I believe, for the first buff you take, and it just, well, depends on whether you skip wolves or not. Just probably in a minute it is the second buff spawns. So by that time you want to be full HP with new items, just to make sure if the enemy is going aggressive, you will be able to match up with them. Yeah, that's good, man. Just timing buffs is awesome. I'm lazy, just I kinda rely on my feeling of when they spawn, except for the times that I really know that they will spawn at 7:10, for example. I will be there for sure, and the next time, just 12:30, I will be there again. Just that's a rule, because when I was playing, probably it was then faculty in LN where I ran a tournament. Well, it doesn't matter. Just, well, it was Sleazy Weezy and the company, and I was playing Xinjiao and he was playing Lee Sin, and he was so focused on stealing my buffs, and he was always coming there and trying to steal it. But I have always, just all the time, the entrances to my buffs were awarded by me, and we took the buff and we killed the Lee Sin. Unfortunately, we threw the game just because we were kinda we lacked the teamwork, just because we haven't played even 10 games together by that moment. But just apart from that, my jungle was rather decent. So you want to secure that buffs, and after that you get your double buff, or just blue buff you given to your mid laner. You get level 6. This is the time you come and try to apply as much pressure as you can to the bot lane, because it is the time when you can just really break the bot lane. If you come earlier, for example pre-level 6, and you overcommit or you just misplay, it is a huge possibility that you will die there. And, well, it can happen just really often. When we play bot lane with my duo partner, it happens, I don't know, probably in 50% of the cases if the enemy jungler comes early into the game. And it just, well, I just understand that's a huge odd that you come to the bot lane and deliver double buff there. You don't want that to happen. But if you got ultimate or new ultimates on their bot lane, just you can pretty much one shot one person there and chase another person down, and as well as if you manage to gank both lanes successfully, it opens opportunity for you to go and get dragon. And objectives is just much more important than getting the kills. If you go top lane that moment and just to get the kill, for example, your top lane is winning, and with the dragon up, you go for no reason top lane just to kill it once more, and they will end up getting the Drake, but it was not worth it for you. So you always want to be sure about just that controlling the Drake. There is also just a good habit to have, regardless of what lane you play. Just probably except for the AD carry. I know buying wards on AD carry always seems rather stupid for me, but sometimes I buy pink wards as an AD carry. But when you play jungle, you do really want to buy at least 1 or 2 wards after any back. And just if you watch a stream of a good jungler, they always do that. They do not pay enough attention to it. It's just a habit. Even if you're winning, it gets you even further behind, even further ahead. Because if you manage to try to find someone off guard and they are not prepared for this, that you have vision of there, you can counter gank successfully and just destroy their hopes on comeback. And as well, they will be really demoralized, and that's what you want to get. People in solo queue, when they get frustrated, they just don't want to play anymore and blame the jungler. And all you did was place a ward and come there just because you saw that. As well as your mid laner will, just go back if he sees someone coming. So the best places to ward, obviously, for pink wards, it is here and here. And if your mid lane is really struggling, well, and side bushes, the same thing can be applied to mid laner. If you are falling behind and you are getting babysitted, well, then just place over the wall, let the lane push to you, and just watch the enemy jungler stand in this bush and waste his time trying to gank you over and over again. If he's wasting so much time ganking one lane, you want to you can hope that your jungler will be able to win other lanes, and we will just try to farm as hard as you can, just get all the CS that you want, that you can, and then just out of that probably try to win the team fight. So warding is important, and as well, if you buy wards, you can swap your trinket to a sweeping lens. That also helps you to catch someone off guard, and catching someone and picking the kills, and after that chasing more and more people down is just the huge thing to get a success in solo queue. And you can even win the games that seemed really unwinnable because their team fights were so much supreme to yours. Just, if not that big, no chance you could win this. As for Baron, I try not to go for Baron unless I have like 100% vision of the Baron area, and I'm not playing champions like Lee Sin, because just getting these Barons against Lee Sin is a really frustrating thing. It requires really huge team coordination, or at least team experience, and it's always just a little bit too risky. If you are ahead and you're able to push the towers, just push the towers, make the plays, and only go for a Baron when it's just kinda becomes a little bit stuttering. So you try to team fight without Baron, and although you're ahead, their team comp is probably better, but they're still behind in vision, and then you can try to risk it because you have nothing to lose from that point. Just if you feel that that you're losing team fights as already, but you are still ahead in terms of vision, just try to sneak it out. It is a doable thing to do this right now. It will do a lot of damage, and Baron is melting down pretty fast. But to do this, you have to buy yourself a pink ward just to secure vision. If your support is not helping you, just do this yourself. Yes, this can be frustrating, but that's a really good habit to have. That helps in a huge amount of cases. Mid lane spamming that you're not helping him, and the enemy jungler has been mid lane 100 times. Just buy him a ward and mute him, because he won't be able to say you anything interesting from that. Yep, and that's also the thing that you want to understand. Regardless of how you play, you can be godlike on one champion. The games can happen where even if you play good, but still some of the lanes will flame you, just because it is impossible to gank in 100% of the games 100% of the lanes. Because sometimes it will happen that you won't be able to gank them, and you shouldn't make decisions based on their flame. For example, top lane being already 0-10, and just obviously you won't be able to gank him alone, and as well you are risking dragon. He's flaming like mad, but there is nothing you can do. You just try to win the other lanes. You try to just force a team fights with in which your teammates will have overall more gold, because you have managed to take, for example, 5 dragons. So just 5 dragons to the whole team pretty much is 0-10 top lane, and even more, because 0-10 is just got snowballed to nothing, and from the last kills, this guy the opponent wasn't getting that much gold. So objectives is always rules. Probably just helping not helping bot lane at all, and just ignoring their needs is most of the time can lead to a bad outcome. Other than that, you can ignore top lane and mid lane pretty much if they're feeling too useless to you and just you're unable to gank them. But that comes to the experience. You want to max one champion to that point where you will be just 100% sure what you can gank and what you cannot. I have actually just a couple of videos in production. Well, not in production, but I had a really games that will show like where one decision made by jungler, just really horrible decision, just costed us the game, because she made a consecutive of 3 bad decisions by ganking the wrong lane, like going to ham or just getting pissed because of not getting enough support from the laner, and after that flaming really mad. That's ended up in the guy just leaving the game, and that was the game that could have been played. There were lanes that this guy could have ganked, but for some reason he has made bad decisions and just kept on making them over and over again, and just, like to that point that even he didn't want to play anymore, as well as just one of our teammates just rage quitted the game. That's a rare case, but that showed that he doesn't understand the basics of what is going on. He doesn't know the matchups, and I guess for you, just as you play pretty much any lane pretty often, you should be aware of what kind of champions are lane bully champions and what are just kind of just trying to survive that laning phase and trying to get to the late game with as much farm as they can. Well, just for example, a good example is Renekton top lane. Mordekaiser mid lane, I don't know, it is still struggling, but as I remember when it used to be, he was really a lane bully and he was just asking to be ganked. And if you ignore him and let him farm, he will get huge and it will be hard for you to get there. It's the same thing about Pantheon. He will try to kill the top lane and get snowballing out of there. And if you ignore him, it is really bad. And instead of it just wasting your time and trying to gank useless lane that just kind of farm lane from the very start, it's a bad decision from that very moment. So in terms of builds, here comes the versatility of the champions, mostly. So why versatile champions are good? Well, and I'm talking about J4, I don't know, Wukong, well, and others, just that kind of fighter champions. The reason for them being good is that if they get the kills, they can go damage, and they will be able, just because of that extra gold, they will be able to build tanky items by the moment the enemy AD carry, AP carry, just depending on what lane is the most dangerous for you. You will be able to get the resists to survive the team fights. And if you got the kills, you got the money, and you just instantly go to the tankiness. It can happen that in team fight, just because you took all the kills and pretty much you are the only danger in your team, just you will end up not getting the kills that you could have gotten if you had gone a little bit of damage items. But you don't want to build like full damage build. I don't think that's a balanced thing and a good thing to do. You probably want to go, well, Spirit of the Ancient Lizard, Spirit of the Lizard, and one damaging item. Well, that's just a rule. This kind of things just can be applied to the top lane. If you're getting ahead, you can afford yourself to go 1-2 damaging items. So, and at the same time, you will be able to build tankiness by the time the enemy carries get just a decent amount of damage to burn through your inborn resists, like survivability and stuff. But if you fall behind, you can't afford yourself going really damaging, and that's kind of mistake can be seen a lot. So this guy is already behind. He's been, I don't know, one-shotted in a bunch of skirmishes already, and he goes damage build as Xinjiao. Well, obviously in fights later into the game, he just goes in. After that, he blows up from the AoE, only from AoE that that has been dealt in this team fight. He's not even being focused, but he still dies. And that's the point. If you are already behind, you try to get tanky just to survive as long as you can, and to provide your team with that much crowd control you can deliver, and just that much utility to give as you can. So that's what I can say about builds. As for the late game, well, that's not about jungler. That probably most of the time is a front line. But what I try to grow in myself, playing carries, is to try to, first of all, not go for the kills, but rather think on what can kill you. So you're kind of chasing a guy, and you know what I'm thinking about is not how I'm gonna kill him. Just probably I will end up missing a crucial spell and not killing him. But I'm trying to watch on the minimap with my side vision and try to predict who can come here. Uh, and if someone comes, who will it be? Can this guy kill me? Can they end up killing me as two? And just that kind of stuff. And that's the same thing about team fights. So the team fight starts, and I'm just not that interested in how the team fight goes, rather than who can engage in me. Who has been engaging in me previous team fights. If it is Jax, always just going into me, I can afford doing I don't know, one mistake. For example, just not predicting Jax going flash Q on me and stunning. But next time I will just really accurately look at his body language, because people really give up their thoughts with their body language. The same thing can be shown like when you try to gank. For example, you've been watching the lane being bullied by Renekton, and the very moment you've come just probably this area, he just instantly stops bullying the lane. Well, obviously he has shown that he has ward there, even if you haven't seen him warding there. So body language is a just crucial thing to watch for, and most of the time you can predict that kind of a hard engage on you and just stay a little bit behind. It is probably a little bit easier when you're playing AP carry, just to kinda use your AD carry as a bait. You know that he will stand a little bit closer. You never want to stand in one place with your other carry. Just that's the common rule. You don't want to kinda attract that huge amount of attention to one single point, rather than just spreading it out. And even if they will go balls deep, at least you will be able to escape. And that's really important if you are playing AP carry, because if you are the one with heavy wave clearing abilities, you will be able to defend your towers, even if the team for it goes really bad and you end up just trading in not in a favor of your team. But you will still be able to poke them down. You will still be able to hold the line, hold the towers for as long as you can, and not only being able to succeed in this mission, but also just waste practically the time of the enemy team, and probably wait for your team to respawn and come and punish them for staying there for too long. And so, kinda bait the enemy onto attacking your AD carry, deal a lot of damage, try to help your AD carry, and after that you can just... It depends, of course, on how the team fight goes, but with champions like Orianna, it's just pretty much the same. You try to help your front line in the very beginning of the team fight, but then you leave them be and try to save your AD carry, because if you do win the team fight and you don't have AD carry up, you won't have that huge objective taking potential, and that's what you want to get after the team fight. It is not the team fight that matters, just because it is only kills, but that's the objectives you can take out of it. If you can you can die yourself as an AP carry, but if you are sure that it will be the only death and the team will be able to get the Baron, well, I will go for it. But other than that, if there is kind of uncertainty there, well, then I will try to survive myself. I will try to focus on not dying rather than going for a kill, because trading a kill is a toss of a coin. No one knows how it goes, and if you survive and just try to outplay them a little bit later, just postpone the fight, you're like, as a carry, you most likely if you are an AP carry, of course, you have a kind of a burst damage, so you just want to live as long as you can, but that's just not a useless time, but it is closely connected with the cooldowns you have. You want to live more, not 6 seconds cooldown, for example. Well, I will just clear this out. 6 seconds, I mean, if you have 5 seconds cooldown on your skill, you want to live 5 seconds, and 6 seconds doesn't matter that much, because you won't be able to deal that damage. But the difference between 9 and 10 seconds is huge, because you will be able to deal this extra damage with your spell, and probably even kill this guy and survive yourself. So that's the thing to track down of. As for builds here, it is a little bit different when we're talking about builds of carries and build of tanks. And tanks, well, when I was talking about jungler, I was talking about mainly about tanks and top lanes. When you're playing carries and you're getting ahead, that's where you can go a little bit survivability. You can afford yourself to go a little bit tanky just because you can. You're already ahead in terms of damage, and you want to prevent those kind of like making a small mistake, being mispositioned a little bit, but you have your GA up, so your team will collapse on them, and then you will just resurrect and kind of win the game out of them. But if you're falling behind as a carry, you can afford yourself to go in tanky, because if you misposition yourself being already behind, you're dead already. There is nothing you can do about it. So you just want to go full tanky and focus on getting that perfect team fight you want to get. Like the very best team fight you can imagine. And if you have the damage you want and you position yourself correctly, you will be able to deal enough damage just to destroy the enemy team. And it will be better if you just position yourself correctly, but you end up not getting enough damage in this team fight, and they will be able just to counter engage you, and you will eventually end up dying anyways. So so that's the builds about of carries. What can I say as well? Well, that's I think all I had to say in terms of theory crafting. I probably would like to see a game of yours recorded. Do you use some kind of a replay recording software? Is LOL replay working still? I know I use Baron replay. Okay, so what I wanted you just to get out of today's lesson. First of all, you want to try and focus on one lane. And probably the best thing to climb is jungle. Especially considering the fact that you are experienced in laning phases of all the lanes. Get a 2-3 champions there and play mostly one champion on all other roles. That's boring, I admit it. That's really boring. But when you want to climb, you can't afford yourself to lose the games that you could have won if you had been playing the champion that you are experienced with. That's the main idea. If you want to relax, just go normals. That's the rule. And if I feel that I feel lazy last hitting, I don't play this champion, I don't feel playing Ashe again when I was just spamming her like mad. I just went normals. So, Braum. Problem that I see in Braum is that Morgana is highly contested pick, and she feels like a really no-brain champion. Well, for me as a support, when you were playing her mid lane, you were really forced to win the game really early because her late game was shitty. But when she's played bot lane, that's not the case. Her early game is awesome. Her binding is just lasting forever. She deals decent amount of damage. She is really efficient, uh, dealing with just securing the peel for her AD carry. Well, and she counters Braum a lot. When we were my duo queue partner, just really liked the design of Braum. When we could, I was picking Braum for him, but the games were just horrible. I don't know. Probably if we had banned Morgana, well, it could have been a better thing for us. But pretty much, I don't know. He's not that strong. He's some kind of a Tarek, but a little bit better. And his hard engage is not good. I think that if you want to support, well, first of all, I have a good video of me spectating Shepard playing Zyra as support. He carries really huge with her. Uh, I can play like support really good, and I have carried just numerous of games with her. Why? Because both Zyra and Lux can really snowball just through the damage dealt, especially Zyra. She doesn't even need that many items to deal with just a massive amount of damage, and no one expects for you to do this. That's the first thing, just the first aspect. And Morgana is good just because she's just, I don't know, she doesn't expect from from a player just to be a godlike. You just have to be decent landing just a single skill shot she has. That's first thing. The second kind of champion is, I'd say, Thresh and Leona. And as for me, I do really rate Leona over Thresh just because when you're watching LCS, they are just doing crazy stuff with Thresh, but Leona in solo queue for me feels better. Why? Because her ultimate's range is kind of feeling a little bit more than all the other champions has in League of Legends. So her ultimate, in most of the cases, is not being expected by the enemy team, and hard engage in solo queue is OP. People are not paying enough attention. People just farming the side lanes. People are farming jungle, and if you can punish them for not being grouped as a team, and you can do this by having a good engage potential, that's where you win the games. You just lock their carry, insta kill him, they try to defend him, pile in, and they have already lost the team fight from that very first engage from your ultimate. And Braum, he's good defending the AD carry. I believe he hasn't been in LCS yet. I guess in LCS he has a huge potential. Just for some reason I believe he's good. But just for solo queue, where AD carries are not that strong, but where their positioning is not godlike, obviously, and you can't save them. Though Braum is good. Probably as a counter pick, I would consider playing him. But as a first pick with Morgana open, I don't know. I guess he's a little bit too weak. So, any other questions? What can I say? Okay, best champions for. Well, I'm not saying Leona is best. I'd say. Hmm. I'd say probably Zyra. Honestly, Zyra feels just really, really strong. Just if you are playing Zyra good, and my Dokyo partner plays her just extremely good, he carries the games alone, and you can imagine how often he ends up being the first damage in a team, being a support, having just zero gold compared to our mid lane uh, champion. But she's just a little bit specific in terms of laning phase. She's a little bit squishy, so if you just misposition yourself, you're gonna die. But you can train this. How? Uh, just a few words about how I enjoy uh, training myself. When I was playing mid a lot, I used to play normals just without any kind of defense defense stats. I just went like 30 magic resist and 10 armor. I've tried to push, and just I forced myself to that point where I just, if I make a mistake, if I misposition myself, I will die. But I was, and it comes to the practicing this over and over again. Just feeling the ganks, feeling the body language of your opponent when just the enemy jungler comes and he just totally changes his behavior on the lane. He just starts just getting closer to you and try to land his CC. So the same thing. Just I play normals. I usually really play balls deep. I like to pushing myself to the limit and getting the idea of how far can I get, how far can I go without being punished. And then in ranked, I will usually end up playing something with magic resist, I guess. So just to have that a little bit safer to make a mistake, obviously, because normals are usually a little bit easier because of players playing their not playing their main champions. They're not from the division that I usually play in ranked. So about jungle, uh, I don't think that playing champions with feral flare is good. Uh, because it just requires a little bit too many time and just you're ending up a little bit squishy. Kha'Zix, I haven't tested him myself, but from what I watched in the Odd One stream yesterday, Kha'Zix is balanced, but he's not OP anymore. That's the problem. He's kinda a usual champion that are out there, and just without heavy CC, and he's not tanky anymore. So uh, when we're talking about hard engage, well, that's Wukong, Xin Zhao, J4 is strong right now with his buff. Well, Sejuani, I can't really recommend Sejuani because only me is playing Sejuani. Just only for me she's being effective. But Pantheon is good. Lee Sin, the problem of Lee Sin is that he's huge early game, but later into the game it is hard for you to make the plays. So you can't really engage someone within sec because players will just flash and you will end up throwing them away from the team fight and probably even dying there yourself. So I prefer having reliable engage and focusing on not playing some kind of some champions that requires really hardcore mechanical skill, but playing rather easy champions and focusing on thinking about the game, just watching the lanes, how are they doing, what lane I can gank, what lane I can gank, just and trying to focus on making good decisions rather than uh, trying to outplay someone with the champion. So Xinjiao, I guess, just Avai as well is just rather easy champion. Just don't this kind of champions they have a hard engage and they're not hard to play at all. Just a little bit basic things you need to learn, and as well they can go both tanky and damage dealing depending on how fed they are getting. So top lane I do believe. I guess Shyvana and Aurelia are really strong. Renekton is still strong but kind of underrated right now, just after nerfs as usual. The main thing of them, they can snowball the lane. They can just stall the lane and get back into the game later on. They can go tanky, they can go damage, so that's just what you want to get. And mid lane. Well, mid lane, I don't like playing assassins mid lane because they can be punished hard by the enemy jungler. So I'd say a safe pick Ziggs, I guess, is the best. Nidalee is strong right now too, but she requires a really just a decent amount of practice. And the bad thing that she's gonna be reworked soon, so it just looks like a waste of time learning to play her the way she is right now. So Ziggs is not going to be changed. He deals a lot of damage even if he just honestly playing bad. Well, he just totally mispositioned himself. I don't know, dying in the first seconds of the team fight, and then you just watch the statistics, and he has still the most damage done to the champions. And that's why you are picking AP carry mostly. You just want to burst them, the enemies down. And well, if you die, but you have managed to ace the team, that was worth it. But so Ziggs, I don't know, Lux, if you enjoy her, Orianna is good. She just provides a huge utility. Lulu is just a great lane bully, and she counters assassins really hard, and just she can stall the game, and she can win the game, and she can deal a lot of damage. I don't recommend you playing LeBlanc, although I feel she's highly overrated, just because of LCS. She's not feeling that strong at all. She is kinda dominating the lane, but most of the heavy AP carry champions, like that farm a lot, Lux, Orianna, Ziggs, they will eventually end up just outscaling her. And later in the teamfights, there are not many players that can really be efficient playing LeBlanc, as if they had, for example, been playing Ziggs. Just there is no need for you to just make some crazy moves. Again, you are not focusing on making the crazy moves and outplaying them heavily, but you just focus on the game, you focus on the objectives, you focus on the positioning. And when you're playing Orianna, you can't really afford yourself getting really hard out of position. So you focus just on your positioning is getting better, so it will be easier for you just to transition to another champions that can be a little bit more risky after that, but you still can deal a lot of damage out of it, just pretty much without tryharding. And just you can also bring a huge amount of utility to your team fights, so that's awesome. So I'd say Orianna, Ziggs, and then I have one more champion. Six. And Lux. But Lulu. Well, but it actually it depends on you. Mid can be played with a lot of champions. If you can farm with them, Kassadin is strong, Karthus is strong, and if it is strong. It comes to the champion that brings you that warm feeling of you being dominant. Just uh, that just an extension of your arm. Like if we are talking like some kind of a metaphor uh, to the sword in your hand, it's just like the same thing about the champion. If it just feels that it is yours and it is working for you, Syndra is good. I know, just as well. Just it just all comes to the team fights. How do you feel yourself in the team fights? Uh, does you have all the amount of utility you want to get to the team? Do you have enough amount of damage if you are falling behind? Uh, uh, I remember the point that I sometimes forget to tell. Uh, just when you try to improve, you are not trying to, I don't know, kind of snowball the one games harder, because you don't really need to rush it that hard. You just need to be consistent with taking objectives. But rather, when you are trying to improve, you want to win the games that are kind of on a tilt, that are uh, not decided till the very last moment, till the Nexus has died. That's the point where you can actually improve, and that's why you always want to play and be experienced with one champion, because that kind of games that are 50-50, here when a little bit amount of experience in this champion can just give you, just the odds will be on your side from that, just because you are experienced with the champion, and that's just really frustrating. I know what about you, but for me it is obviously when like I knew that I could have played my best champion, but I for some reason went some others, and just there were no reason at all to do this, and we end up losing in 1 hour game just because obviously I was not playing to my maximum, because I don't know, just this kind of champion I haven't practiced enough, and well, in the end I end up uh, having a difference of 40 ALP between the situation I would have if I had been playing my main champion and won that 20 LP, and I ended up playing just some kind of a fun pick for me and losing that 20 LP. So just wanted, if I just want to have fun, I try to just go to normals and only try ranked in the champions that I feel that they are working really really good in normals, and just I have a feeling of a huge potential of in that kind of team fights that I usually have in my usual games in ranked. In TF, I have forgotten about TF. TF is really strong because he can safely farm, he can farm a lot, he can get a lot of farm overall, and he can help bot lane and top lane, and just he's kind of a mobility. And his team fights are really strong, but he's kind of vulnerable to ganks. But it is a matter of practice, avoiding them. So, any more questions? Well, I do really hope that it will help you to get your things a little bit just into a movement towards a better goal. Because I do believe, and I have noticed that in numerous times, when people start spamming the champion and fighting the champion that works fine for them, they will really had a huge climb up. And I hope that it will help you a lot. And just finding that warm feeling, and that you're actually worth it. And I do believe that you already have that. That you kind of from time to time facing the platinum 1 champ, platinum diamond 5 players, and you can actually outplay them. So there is no reason for you even to rush for it. Just eventually you will get there, but just focus on your play. Just focus on that small amount of champion pool, but getting really, really better, just godlike with them, and just I guess that is gonna be all right for you. So I wish you just better good luck. Uh, diamonds raining down from the sky, that kind of stuff, man. Thank you for coming to my lesson, and I would really appreciate you leaving a review on the site. That will help me to get even more students. So thank you very much. Okay, thanks a lot, man. So, and if you uh, have a, if you end up recording a replay, just send it to me and I will analyze it. Thank you very much. Probably see you in some games. Thank you. Goodbye.